But it's always, most of the time, it's Ben and Dave or John and Dave.
What was your darkest memory from the war?
There are a number of them. Probably the worst one was having one of my close friends in front of me trip a mine, and it knocked me down. It didn't injure me, but it blew him to pieces, and I had some of him on me. That was probably one of the darkest ones.
I'm so sorry. What was one of the most toughest things you had to do during your basic military training before you went into Vietnam?
Say goodbye to my girlfriend. Militarily, though. Let's see. That's a tough question. Hardest thing I ever had to do. I know what it was. Being alone Christmas time. That's the worst thing.
Mm-hmm.
And every Christmas while I was in the service, I was away. I was overseas. It's kind of tough.
Mm-hmm. What was your thought during the war about returning to home?
Always in your mind. Always, always, always. How many days do I have left to serve?
When you came home from the war, could you describe your life then? What you did after the war?
Well, when I went over in 1964 for the long term in Vietnam, I weighed 175 pounds. When I came back to get discharged at Treasure Island in San Francisco, they told me I had to weigh 100 pounds before they would discharge me. So I had lost over 75 pounds over there. That's from eating the local food. It was a rare day that we had American food. And when I got back there, when they realized I was the senior officer, and I had 4 guys under me. And when I went to see the lieutenant who was in charge of the fellows getting out of the service, he said, I think you need a 24-hour pass to the galley. Go anytime you want. Gave us a pass. And we were kind of very important VIPs because there weren't any combat vets back then. And when I got back here, I was the only combat vet in New England for about 6 months. And I was in the Seabees anyway. So it took me about 20 years to get that up to 170 pounds again. And I still have trouble eating Oriental food.
What careers did you pursue with your military skills after the war?
Well, basically, as I say, I was a land surveyor before I went into the service, and I came back to land surveying. But I still do it. I still repair my own toilets when they're running. I do little plumbing things. I'll do electrical things because I learned all this stuff. And somebody will call me up and ask if I can give them a hand at doing some construction. It's not a problem. Well, it's a problem now because I'm a little old for it.
Yeah. Going back into the war,
Sure.
Could you tell us your nearest death experience?
I think the nearest death is the one I explained, where I wore my buddy on the front of me. There were, of course, anytime there's any grenades or.
Have you ever seen Saving Private Ryan?
Yep.
How close does that movie depict the actual military experience?
It's quite close. It's quite close. Of course, now Saving Private Ryan is World War II, and we went we've developed quite a ways from that. Um, we were more highly trained than they were. The fellows today that are in the service are even more highly trained than we were. It's just the way the times are.
What was the most graphic scene you've seen during the war?
Probably going into a village that the Viet Cong had hit, and seeing the people that were slaughtered. It was pretty bad. One scene that I remember is 6 kids that were impaled on basically a stick of bamboo. And, that's kind of graphic.
When did you get news that you'd be returning home? How did the other soldiers around you feel about that?
They were happy for me. Everybody looked forward to getting out of there, especially of us that were into combat. Everybody counted the days, and one of the things that happened to me was I was counting days, and I got extended another year, what they call an involuntary extension. So I spent 5 years active duty versus what normally was 4 years. So that didn't go over too well with me. So I had to start counting all over again.
And so, upon returning home, everyone was happy for you to see you again.
Oh yes, except for the peaceniks. That was quite an experience to be around everybody that didn't want to have love and not war.
Yeah.
They don't seem to realize that none of us really want war.
Yeah.
War is a necessary thing. We have to spill blood to keep our freedom, and that's basically what it is. Same thing today. And one of the things that's happened today is that there are people like myself that came back to a very adverse condition with the public, and today we won't allow it. We go up and thank a soldier for doing what he's doing, and that didn't happen to us. We got spit on, screamed at.
Could you describe your most life-changing experience from the war?
Yeah, I even got more religion. Was in a situation, of course, life-threatening, and we knew they were going to try to come and get us out of there. And it was an overcast day, and it was almost as if God himself was on our side. The clouds opened up, a beam of light shone down on us, and within 5 minutes we were gone, out of there. Oh, thank you, Lord.
What was it like being on the battlefield?
Scary. One of the things that, while I was there, we didn't have any battle lines per se. You never knew when you were going to be shot at. And there may be only 3 or 4 of you that you can trust. And in many instances, we were sitting back to back or in a circle, defensive circle, protecting ourselves, and everybody else that was there, which would be the Vietnamese, would have to defend themselves. And it was pretty interesting.
What would you have to say to anyone, any young soldier who's going into the service? If you could say anything to them from your memories, anything, what would you say?
Listen and look and keep your mouth shut. It saves your life. I had a few friends that